Hey, welcome to another episode of MLM Renegade. Today I'm really excited. We did an interview with Jeff Hunter, who is a master copywriter, and he shared some insights that are just incredible. Check it out. So here's the million-dollar question. How are network marketers like us, who've tried everything their upline ever suggested to be successful, and yet still struggled, who grew up with technology and aren't stuck in the 20th century, how are we supposed to grow our downlines and our bank accounts and yet still have time for real life? My name is J.R. McKee. Join me as we explore how to use 21st century learning and technology to grow our downlines and build lasting wealth. Simply put, this is MLM done different. Welcome to MLM Renegade. Okay, hey guys, welcome in. I'm really excited today for this guest that we've got on. Jeff Hunter he's the master of outsourcing and copywriting, and that's kind of how I found him. And I've been trying to get him on the podcast here since before the new year. Like, I reached out to him and he shined me on a little bit, and I got to rib him just a little bit for it, but. Jeff is a master when it comes to especially copywriting for social media, and he's going to talk a little bit about a program he has for that. But the opportunity here within social media to utilize good copywriting techniques is so huge. Like, the opportunity is it's massive because people don't write well. Like, they write terribly, and I'm no exception to this. But when you can write well, you can draw interest and you can gather, you can get people excited to follow you. And that's really, it's been really cool. And so anyway, Jeff, thanks for coming on, man.
I'm honored. And, to add to that, I would say that most everybody has really good stories, but the problem is most people suck at telling them.
Yeah. No, perfect. Yeah. Well put. I mean, everybody's got a good story. And when you tell a story that's packed with emotion, you're going to get, you're going to get people. I mean, a couple episodes ago, I talked about, a hook, a story, and an offer. And, and that is really the important thing to be able to hook somebody's interest online. But you've got some specific methods that you've been honing and working on. And let me step back for just a second. Maybe give us some background on kind of where you came from and how you came to all of this. I know your story is a little more out there than most people might expect.
I think what's funny is that I come from the corporate world, and even before that, I worked for the government, so 10 years before I became a quote unquote entrepreneur, of just, following orders and coming up with good ideas for what was expected in my industry. I never really had to sell anything, which was a huge awakening when I started my own business. I was like, oh crap. Like, I felt like there's just no momentum, and especially when you're first starting out. To be honest, I used to admire, I would even say envy people that were really successful in my field, which was project management. I'm a Fortune 100 project manager. I was recognized one of the top 5 in the nation working at Philips Electronics. And I just thought I knew everything.
It's usually about the point I've found when life just decides to knock you on your butt and remind you that no, you don't.
Yeah. And actually that was one of the biggest moments of my life, was realizing that I didn't know everything. As a matter of fact, I got the nickname the King of Outsourcing because I am really good at project management and building virtual teams, which 10 years ago was such a outlandish new thing. And now you have commercials on TV for Upwork, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've come such a long way. You've got commercials on for Fiverr, like I was using Fiverr. I was selling services on Fiverr when it was still $5. So You
And
know,
you
the
can still
thing
find
is,
stuff for $5 on there. I mean, I'm
yeah,
kind of a cheapskate that way. I like to find the $5 ones because I haven't found that the quality is double the quality for an extra $5. So maybe
mhm.
I'm just cheap, but
Well, they just made it. Now they made it $5 plus a $1 processing fee, whatever. So you can't even find a gig on there for $5. You know, so
yeah.
the thing that's really interesting is that when I first came online, I guess into the social media world, I really only used my social media to connect with my family, to connect with my friends, my coworkers, things like that. Stay connected with family mainly, and I kept seeing amazing people in my network just like destroying the internet. Like they were actually making money on social media, and I was like, "This is magic! Like, what's going on here?" And especially since I know we're on the MLM Renegade podcast, you know, the truth of the matter is your network is your net worth, right?
Amen. Yeah.
Everyone knows that in this industry. And it wasn't until I started working with really incredible people at the top of the food chain in the MLM industry, great network marketers. You know, one of my clients, Alex Morton, he has 600, 700,000 followers on Instagram. He just spoke on stage at Grant Cardone's thing. He's traveling in a different country every week, it seems like. He's all over the map. He was with Vima. Now he's with IML, iLive Markets. It's a Forex trading platform training.
Yep.
There's just so many different ways. You know, a lot of my good friends are with you know, more like alternative medicine thing. Now there's CBD popping up MLMs. Now you've got all sorts of network marketing opportunities and like LifeVantage and this and that. I mean, there's just so many different opportunities. doTERRA is like still number one. You know, like they're just killing it, crushing it. They're everywhere. There's so many people everywhere. But if you'll notice, the top people in every single one of those markets, in every single one of those top earning spots, what is the one thing they all have in common? They all have really incredible brands, and they have a super serious and constant, consistent just presence. I would even call it an omnipresence. Like they're everywhere. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook. They're on Twitter. They're on wherever they are. And what's really interesting, it doesn't take a lot of people in your network to make a real big impact, to make a lot of money. It just takes having a really good story, being able to develop that story really good, and compelling people to take action. That's it.
Yeah. No, and that's I mean, I've seen it, you know, in the network marketing, you know, company that my wife and I work. You know, we've sold thousands of dollars on Facebook and made thousands of dollars, you know, on Facebook, and it's been really interesting, and it's gone through ebbs and flows and different waves, you know, and as everything does. But you know, I've been really impressed, Jeff, with what you've been kind of showing people about how to engage. And a lot of the copywriting that you're doing is definitely more long form copy. I mean, it's still fairly compact, but it's you know, it's not 2 lines. It's not even 3 lines, right? You're going through. In fact, I saw a message that you were doing a critique for somebody, and they had said, "Hey, what do you think of this?" And the messaging was pretty okay. I mean, but you said something effective. You know, it hurts your eyes to look at it because they had crammed it in there. I mean, it was just line. Yeah, it was like stacked in there, deep and tight, and it was and you know, kind of when you refreshed it, you know, you add space, you add, you know, which is funny because I hadn't thought of it in the past, but seeing that, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, that makes a lot of sense. And then, you know, some of my favorite, and I digress a little bit, but some of my favorite memes on Facebook are where it's telling the story, and it says, and you know, it says read more, and you go and click on read more, but it really isn't the read more button. They've like tricked you into it. Like those are my favorite because it says something like this person, you know, basically it's making fun of you. You're reading it and you're thinking, what's going on here? And then you realize that it's making fun of you, and it's just like you feel equal parts like a jerk, and at the same time, I got to post that. You know, it's like, so.
You know, it's really funny. I actually enjoy writing stories about how people read stories, and I think you saw one of the very first posts I did in my Social Copy Secrets program was I talked to people and I said, I made a very provocative headline. I said some things that are probably going to hurt feelings. And at this point in time, most everybody wants to read the story more. But see, right now you just got done clicking the see more button because you want to learn the rest of the story. And I'm going to break it down for you. I'm actually going to show you one thing, two things, and three things on why this is actually working. And by this point, you're just like, okay, what is going on? This is like Inception. How is he doing this? And then you are going to think that I'm going to ask you for money so I can show you how to do it for the simple price of $9.97. But no, I'm not. I'm going to blow your minds, and I'm going to give you something away for free. All you have to do is comment, give it to me below, and I'm going to send it to you. And then everybody's going crazy like, oh my God, that is so funny. And of course, everybody's commenting below like, brilliant, give it to me, whatever else, because what's really funny, and I think what really works well with copywriting, and I think that right there, you know what, I'll have to send you a link to that post so your viewers can see what I'm talking about. But the point of this is that you have to understand your marketing. You have to understand your target. That's why it's called marketing. It's all about knowing your market. That's the point of marketing. It's the market.
Sure.
How well do you know your market? If you know your market, if you have a really good offer that solves a really problem that people face, people will cough up the money to solve that problem. And I think you just had a podcast episode coming out, or you must have just had one where you talked about crafting your offer, right?
Yep.
Crafting your offer. And that's one of the most important things that people don't think about is how well do you know your audience? Can you predict what they're thinking while they're reading what you're writing?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I worked my way through college selling cell phones. Like I worked for Sprint and for AT&T I had 2-year stints at both with a stint in T-Mobile in the middle. And I worked for corporate. So like I was working for the actual corporation, which had some nice things and some really lousy things too. But it got to the point, especially like to say the last 2.5 years that I was doing that, people would come in and they would hand me their phone and they're explaining to me what is wrong or what's going wrong or what they were doing with their phone that wouldn't work. And meanwhile, like as soon as they hand it to me, the first thing I do is I pop the battery off, take it out, reset the phone, start the phone back up. Because a phone is a computer, right? And when something goes wrong, you restart it. Like anybody who has ever done any level of tech support, that's line one, restart the stupid machine. So I did that, and they'd be like, well, it wouldn't do this and this and this. I mean, you mean that? And they're like, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, either phones are afraid of me but I already knew I knew they hadn't even gotten the question out, and I already had the answer for them.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is the same thing. It's like You can sit there and if you can guide somebody down that primrose path of where you want them to go, you're going to be able to get them to do things. Like, so I want to give you a shout out here, Jeff, because you created a course, Social Copy Secrets, and you set it up as basically you said, okay, for the first 20 people, we'll get it at $297, and then the price goes up to, what was it, $397?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it went up again and basically you capped it at 100 people. And you sold that thing out to all 100 people in, I remember the first 20 were gone inside of like 2 hours, right?
2 hours, yeah.
And
I had people crying, asking me if they could still get in for $297. And I said, guys, I promise you, first 20, it's going to be the first 20.
That's awesome. And so, but then you did, but then basically you rolled it out to there's 100 or 102 people or something like that in the course, right? But I mean, I did the mental math on that. I'm thinking, dude, like you just made a Mercedes in the course of a couple of days.
I made over $40,000 in 15 days.
Yeah. 2 weeks, 40 grand. So you made, the average American middle-class income is right about that mark. I mean,
44, 46, something like that.
Yeah, mid 40s. So you did that in 2 weeks by providing good copywriting, but then, obviously providing a service. And that's one of the things that, that I'm working on as a part of MLM Renegade is, part of being in network marketing is, like you said, your network is your net worth. Well, too often we get stuck talking to friends and family. Now, friends and family have a place in the business, right? I mean, you want people, your closest people to support you. Here's the problem. Most people who are network marketing, this isn't their first rodeo. It's not even their second or probably even their third. And so they've already burned out that market. And so one of the things I'm creating is I'm calling it the Renegade Recruiting System, which basically is going to go through, and it's a course that's going to teach you how to use Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and podcasting, and so that you can actually get in front of the audience and do the marketing. But a big piece of this is two things you just point out. One, you have to know your market. Okay, we're going to talk about that. And two, you got to know what to say when you're marketing to them. And frankly, that's part of the reason I wanted to bring you on, because you're right. You have a great formula, and you call it CLEAR. And I want you to walk through that real quick.
Yeah, well, there's really, so before I tell people how I'm qualified to even say that I come up with this formula, some people consider the algorithm of Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn as some secret mathematical formula, which it is technically a secret formula that you use to determine if your content is good. Now, your content, if it's good, it gets pushed out to more people for free, right?
Exactly.
The more people that comment, like, and share, the better. The problem is, how do you get people to do that? So what I did was in 2017 is I analyzed over 2,000 Facebook posts, 1,000 of mine, 1,000 of my best competitors, some of the best copywriters in the game, some of the best marketers in the game, to see what they were doing. And I became obsessed with copywriting. And I came up with this crazy strategy, CLEAR copywriting method. I taught that for the very first time live on the other side of the world. And I had a sold out room of 15 people. And it was just an underground workshop. Lighting was bad. PowerPoint slides were, last minute.
Yep.
And you know what? Everybody who came out of that told me that they got instant results using that. And I was like, wow. And I knew I was onto something. And then in 2018, I did the exact same thing, except I ramped it up. I did 3,764 Facebook posts, just my own Facebook posts.
How did you wait? You did 3,700 of your own Facebook posts?
Correct. That now, truth be told, I do have a copywriter, multiple actually.
Yeah.
And that includes the post that I made on my page, my profile, and my LinkedIn account. But in all, my team studied 3,764 posts. They determined what worked best: long form, short form, pictures, videos, images with text, images without text, videos with text. I mean, like, we studied everything. I have so many frigging data points. Like, I'm pretty sure I've done the most exhaustive analysis of the Facebook algorithm ever. And actually, I'm really excited because I'm going to be sharing those results soon. But the point is, I came up with 5 main elements that are inside every single social media post that was successful. And by successful, I mean ones that were crushing it. I took out of those thousands of posts, I found the best performing ones and said, what is the thing? What's the magic thing that these all have in common? And you know what I found? Every single one of them, whether it is a picture, a video, a long post, or a short post, they made people do 5 things. There were 5 key elements. One is probably the most important part, which is piquing people's curiosity. You have to pique people's curiosity to keep reading. We live in a world where the attention span is getting smaller and smaller, and we have to try and break through the monotony of social media through everyone else's regurgitation and basically pollution of social media is what they're doing.
Yep.
So how can you stand out? You got to pique curiosity. You got to also show them the value. You got to lead into the value. That's why the C and the L. And then you have to make them feel emotionally invested in your story. You have to make them feel like there's a reason for them to keep watching, right? Same as a TV show. If you don't feel like you're not feeling the actors, if it feels fake, if you're not really liking the storyline, if it's not really got some strong emotion attachment to it, you're just going to tune out, right? Like, well, because every single episode of every single season is piquing your curiosity. What's going to happen next, right? Season premiere of the last episode or season ever of Game of Thrones, and the very last scene is a confrontation between two people from a long time ago that someone thought was dead. And I'm not going to even say the rest of it. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. But you have to also analyze something. There has to be some data that makes you an authority. So you have to build some analyze. You have to show people why something is happening. And then you need to cause a reaction. You need to reinforce your original statement and cause a reaction. So those are the 5 main things that we discovered on every single really successful post. But once you learn and understand how to harness those 5 key elements to writing copy, you will get people drawn in to following you and reading your stuff. And every day I get people telling me that they set me to see first on Facebook. They can't wait to see the stories I post online.
You're on my see first.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. You have been for a little while. You've got.
I'm honored.
You're on there. I don't know if you know Rob Sperry. He's a friend of mine, but Rob's on there. Yeah, I've got a few that I track, and then there's some people who I won't tell you who you are because I'm watching.
Hey, real cool MLM tip right now. If you're trying to build your network and you've got prospects that you want to get in your network and build relationships with, use the See First functionality on Facebook so that you can properly, every time they post, start building that relationship one like at a time. There's no surprise that JR and I are on this thing today because he just told me his secret. He was following me first. So every time I make a post, every time I say something, whatever I'm doing, he's liking, he's engaging, he's building a relationship with me. And that is why this guy is the MLM friggin' rebel.
Yep, the renegade.
Well, you're a friggin' rebel. I'm just going to throw it out there. You're a rebel. Like, that is beyond what everybody needs to do. Like, that's going above and beyond what most people are willing and committed to do to grow their networks.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Thanks. And it's and that's one of those things that I've learned, and it's been, really been important for me especially as I've started to understand all these things. And I mean, this podcast really is dedicated to documenting more than anything my rise, because I'm a big believer that it's hard to follow people when they're already standing on top of the mountain. When they're yelling down from the top, "Hey, come on up!" It's a lot, and you see all the work involved. It's a lot more difficult than somebody saying, "Hey, come with me and let's go." And that's that's really what I strive for. So,
well, one of the things, JR, and I think this is why you and I are in such alignment. I used to, so 2.5 years ago, I released a program called 90-10 Life, and it was showing people how to build a virtual team and grow a virtual business. And it had dozens and dozens of hours of content and guides and resources and all sorts of stuff for people. But you know what I found? There were very few people that actually went through it. There were just a very few amount of people. And when I launched the Clear Copywriting program, which was literally a 1-hour video and maybe 2 or 3 15 to 20 minute like bonus workshops, like everybody went through it, and they all had rave reviews and they had amazing things to say because they were able to watch and spend less than 2 hours of time and get huge results.
Bite size, yep.
And I think that that's something that I've learned over time is how can you make people get a quick win? And if you're an MLM, you need to do the same thing. How can you show people that by joining your program, by becoming a part of your business, which is what it is, by the way, when you get people to come in, you're recruiting, they're becoming part of your downline. What happens? You need to keep them invested in themselves, happy with what they're doing, moving forward and going and giving them wins. And when you give people those quick wins that keep people motivated and energized and feeling fully powered and like empowered to do what they're doing, you are setting yourself up for success, because at that point now you're recruiting successful leaders, people that can help build the business for you.
That's right.
Why copywriting is so important. if you're able to teach the people underneath you how to write incredible stories, how to impact lives, right? Like, this is life-changing stuff. Like, if you are able to help people start making more money every month, living better lives, like, dude, more power to you, and that's what you should be doing. A lot of people give MLM a really bad rep, you know, like hell, I know people that tell me, and by the way, I just want to point this out there, this is because they're doing it wrong. They told me that they can't stand their members. They disinvite them to Thanksgiving because they're selling. They're going there and they're doing the marketing wrong. Guys, if you're using copywriting the right way, people come to you.
All right, that's so I just had a brainchild here, and Jeff, we're gonna figure this out. We'll have to do it offline, but I want to have you be a guest teacher inside the Renegade recruiting system, because you're going to teach it way better than I am anyway. So we'll figure that out so we can put that joint venture together. So
awesome.
Cool. Well, hey, Jeff, I really appreciate you coming on with me. You know, I don't want to overstep our time here, but I know that you've got the Social Copy Secrets. Tell us a little bit about that. I want you to be able to plug that so that everybody can check it out. And yeah, tell us about that.
Sure. Well, Social Copy Secrets was literally everything that I discovered about copywriting over my own personal journey. And boy, has that been an interesting, like I told you guys before, you know, understanding social media to me was really like a giant mystery. I really didn't know what I was doing. I did a lot of experimentation. I didn't understand how to grow a following, and even more, how to make that following start handing me money. Like, compelling people to say, dude, I gotta be in that first 20 people. I gotta get in there because I know this is gonna be valuable. How do you get people to think what you're doing is valuable to cough up money? So that's what I've done. Social Copy Secrets is literally a collection of exactly methods that I use and my team use to grow my own brand and hundreds of successful brands over social media. Basically shows you how to create the perfect post to create exponential engagement on your post, how to generate leads from social media, how to dominate the newsfeed so every time people log in to Facebook, you're on top, and of course, how to make people comment and engage on your posts. That's a really huge thing. And then, of course, the actual methods to turn them from a Facebook post to a paycheck. That's what Social Copy Secrets is all about. It's all about nurturing and growing a network to trust you, trust factor, and then giving them a really compelling reason to give them to make sure that they want to give you their business.
Awesome. So right now it's closed. You're going to be opening it up.
Yes.
When are you reopening it?
So we're 3 weeks through the program right now, and it's, by the time this airs, I think we're going to have maybe 2 weeks left. So actually, I would say it's probably going to be open by the time you guys listen to this podcast. So if you guys want to check it out, you just go to socialcopysecrets.com. That's socialcopysecrets.com. You can go there. And I'm probably going to be putting together a special offer. It's going to be a $2,000 offer. It's something that is a very encompassing course. It comes with lots of guides and checklists. Launch it to the public. I'm gonna have the price set at $997, and I'll probably have an introductory offer for people to come in while they can, and maybe even join the Facebook group for a little bit. I think that's probably one of the most valuable pieces of Social Copy Secrets is 100+ people right now. And JR, just be honest with me, probably the most engaged Facebook group you've ever been in. Yes or no?
Absolutely. Bar none.
These are people that are hungry. They want to be better. They want to help each other. They want to grow, and they understand the value and importance of social copy. And I'm there to be a vessel, not only to share my own experiences, but also to help other people. You probably saw yesterday, I actually posted a biography I did for my own massage therapist, and I asked people for advice because I'm not a biography writer. I said, hey guys, I just write this bio for my massage therapist. He's blind. He's not the best writer. But he's hella good at massages. This guy, he can work out any problem with your body. And I got so many great comments and feedback on how to do it better, including yours. So, guys, that is what Social Copy Secrets is. If you're ready to elevate your presence online and start turning your prospective clients into paychecks, that's what it's about.
Awesome. Jeff, thanks so much for copping on, and look forward to talking with you some more, and definitely having you, having you guest lecture, if you will, for this group. So anyway,
I would be honored.
We'll talk to you soon. Have a great one.
Thanks, JR.
Hey, thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe. And if you loved us, leave us an awesome review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume your podcasts. Now, if you'd like some free training for your team on how your recruiting efforts can be bettered and brought into the 21st century, go to podcast.mlmrenegade.com and get your copy of the Renegade Recruiting Kickstarter.